It's great.
Uh, okay, so do you
Okay,
want to
now
do
we can do the other one.
the... Okay, so
Yeah.
Kamui, you made this post. Well, not a post, but like in response to this picture, you say, "What would you say is the main theme of Boruto?" Clicking on this picture, opening it up. Dorian Munns from, I think this is Twitter, yeah, X. They say, "It's a shonen. The main theme of Boruto is obsession slash love, so this should be expected, to be honest."
I think this was in reference to um like Konohama and Matsuri or something when I found this.
Sure.
But um would you agree or disagree with
I
that theme?
would disagree, though I understand why they're saying it, and I'm not going to say that they are to blame or at fault or wrong. Well, not that they aren't wrong, but I can completely understand how they came to this conclusion. It's a very easy answer to get to,
Shout out
especially
Jonathan Oliver.
especially with the community thinking that the Naruto series is about hate and the Boruto series is about love, especially when it comes to Sarada's Mangekyo Sharinga.
Yeah. Yeah, Jonathan Oliver said that before too, I'm pretty sure, that Naruto's about hate
Exactly.
as well.
Yeah, Naruto's about the cycle of hatred, whereas Boruto's about the era of peace, which is about love, especially seeing, again, just regardless of Sarada's Mangekyo, Sarada with Sasuke, or Boruto with Naruto, or Himawari, Hinata, everything there, just love. But I don't think that's necessarily a thing. But yeah, not
Yeah,
inherently.
I like, yeah, it's present, but I don't think it's the
Exactly.
main theme.
Exactly.
It's
Also,
still
also,
just to
also, also,
address
I do want to add the fact that he's especially saying, like, this is timely and relevant. He's saying this now because this arc is about romantic love in particular.
yeah.
Just like how the Code arc was about love as well. And in general, the Boruto, a lot of the arcs do contain love as like a theme. I just wouldn't say it's like the overarching main theme or anything, even if it's
It's not,
present.
yeah.
It's
It's
overlooming.
it's Ada's thing more than anything. But to clarify though, a lot of people will say like Naruto's stories about hate or the cycle of hatred. Even that I think is not, I mean, it's not to say it's inherently 100% wrong, but that's not what I would say. It's not about hatred or the cycle of hatred. It's, well, if anything, it's about breaking the cycle of hatred. It's about overcoming those like hatred curses placed upon you through bonds and whatnot, as well as obviously other things like what does it mean to be a
Well,
shinobi and
Kamui,
stuff,
forget
enduring.
bonds. Kamui, you break slash overcome the cycle of hatred with what?
Love.
Wow!
Remember Gara's flashbacks? What's the best medicine for a wounded heart? It's love, Gara.
Not
What
hatred.
makes the
Not what
shinobi their
Naruto's about.
strongest? Protecting something you love.
Man, remember when Naruto made a promise of a lifetime out of hatred?
Remember when Sakura said she was so in hatred she couldn't even stand it? Remember when Sai told Sakura that Naruto hated her?
Exactly.
Remember when Itachi told Sasuke, no matter what happens, I will always hate you?
Man, you remember the pain arc? Hinata's hatred confession?
I mean, like, yeah, like, Naruto's story is about love, too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the hatred is there, obviously, but it's about overcoming it. Like, so hatred's like the antagonist, essentially. Now, in
Well, real
Boruto,
quick, that's not
you
to
don't
say
have
that
as much of
hatred.
that.
Real quick, that's not to say that hatred doesn't have to do with the main theme, but I think it's an expansion or an elaboration on the main theme, developing it into something more than to give more of a complex answer later on, or even to muddy the waters a little bit. Attack on Titan does this as well. I wouldn't say the main theme is about, say, helplessness, I wouldn't even necessarily say it's about freedom. I would say it's about cruelty and beauty and how freedom plays into
There's a
that.
lot of things you would, but like it's not just about what I mean, if you were gonna pick one thing for Attack on Titan, I would use the whole like this world is a cruel place, but it's so beautiful is a succinct way of getting at it.
Yeah.
It's just because Armin and Zeke's conversation, I think, made that pretty set in stone that that's what he's going for.
Well, I think that was pretty set in stone from like episode 5.
Oh, I agree. But at the very least, after watching the finale, I'm like, man, I don't know how you could go.
Okay, but that's a little bit ridiculous. That's like saying, "Oh, yeah, now I know what Naruto's about." After Sasuke's final monologue, that's not how that works necessarily.
Well,
oh yeah, no, it's set in stone.
But a lot of people think the Naruto story's about hate or hard work meets talent.
Yes, you got me there.
I don't think Sasuke had a monologue how hard work beats talent, did he?
You got me there.
Or how much he hates Naruto.
Okay.
The cycle of hatred is just like a component that's used in order to get to the theme.
Exactly.
More so.
Yeah. So,
and similarly, I think obsession and love in Boruto does do something similar. That said, if you're ready to transition, what do you think you would say the main theme is? Because I have an answer, but I figure.
Well, I think the main theme is an elaboration on Naruto, so I'm going to give that one first. And Naruto starts off simplistic and then becomes a little bit more developed a little bit later on. But for Boruto, it's an elaboration on the simplistic theme rather than the complex theme, where it's technically both, but you'll see what I'm getting at in a minute. So I think the main theme of Naruto is, what does it mean to be a ninja?
To be a shinobi,
yeah. So ninja. Later on, you could say, what does it mean to be a ninja within this world of hatred, or the cycle of hatred, or this world of corruption, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you get to see what that exactly entails, what that means, not just in terms of being a tool, but the world itself, especially when you get to pain. So rather than the shinobi, it's looking outwards to the world and how the world is corrupt, rather than internally at the shinobi, that level, the macro rather than micro. So in Boruto, I would say, rather than developing into that, but the inverse of that, I would say it's that from the beginning. In fact, more so, that's almost flipping it. The point is the world. So in this world of peace, what does it mean to be a shinobi? From the very beginning is, I think, what they're going for there as the main thing.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at the Momoshiki art, because like Sasuke and Naruto are having the whole bet about whether or not the soul of the shinobi, what does it mean to be a shinobi,
exactly
changes with the times. What did the times change into? An era of peace.
And I think that's what they were going for from the beginning, since they show the era of peace before they ask the question. Technically, they do the same thing in Naruto, but I think they're focusing on the era of peace and how that's changed things before they even get to shinobi as a concept. Were you asking any questions there?
And so I'm going to offer a second answer because I really have one of two that I think are really just like the two biggest ones. But so Sasuke essentially, like in the movie, it wins the bet. The soul of the shinobi didn't change. What it means to be a shinobi is the same in Naruto and Boruto.
Yeah.
And then you jump forward to the actual Boruto manga, you get in the flash forward scene, Boruto saying, I'm still a ninja. Knowing what happened in Naruto, you can see that Boruto is still fighting for that same thing. However, the other answer is something that I think is very good evidence for, with all of these identity arcs we got going on. I don't really know the best way to describe it, but like, basically, I'm gonna try to word this nicely. It's probably not gonna be the best, but you'll get the idea regardless. So, writing your own story / forging your own identity despite what the world is trying to write for you. Why am I saying that? If you go back to chapter 1, this isn't really in the anime, it's in the manga. Well, first of all, Kawaki's saying this and this about Shinobi. Boruto's asserting, no, I'm still a ninja. You get to the end of the chapter, Boruto's got this big ass monologue about how I'm just trying to just Hokage, blah blah blah. Well, he wants to be Hokage. Well, I don't. This is my story. This whole monologue at chapter 1. You get to omnipotence. Omnipotence changes the world's view on Boruto. And what's his goal? To prove that he's Boruto Uzumaki, aka he's gonna write his own future moving forward. What does Ada tell Sarada Tsuburaya Chapter 1 2 Blue Vortex? Oh, that would be the better idea. What is Boruto currently doing right now? Freaking forging his own story despite omnipotence. What does Kashin Koji do? Forge his own unique path that's different than Jiraiya to prove Ishiki wrong, even though Ikimoto retconned that in 2 Blue Vortex, but that's besides the point. What are the Shinju all trying to do? Find their own identities. Kawaki, I think, has a very fun, interesting identity arc where he doesn't like realize these things, obviously, because he hasn't thought about it. But like Kawaki's almost been same code following the story that someone else wrote for him. Now, I don't mean that like Amado literally wrote out a story for Kawaki, but like Amado and Momoshiki are asserting to Kawaki, you are an Atsuki, and Kawaki eventually just bought it. He's not a ninja. He's essentially taking Ishiki, Amado, Momoshiki's words and essentially accepting him, even though that's not the path he was forging, which is going to be a flaw for Kawaki to overcome eventually. You know, Kabuto and every other identity person in Naruto. And so on. There's a billion characters. Mitsuki's freaking doing the every Boruto character's got the same art going on. So I definitely think that's a pretty big one.
And obviously the Boruto series is doing both, and I love that because I love stories when they're doing something original in a sequel while also having connective tissues to the original. So I do love that it's making its own themes to just be overarching as well, while also connecting back to the original and the main point. Because again, you have those questions. What does it mean to be a shinobi? And then what does it mean to be a shinobi in this shinobi world of hatred, blah, blah, blah. And to Boruto, in this era of peace, what does it mean to be a shinobi? It's connecting it that way. But also then you have the answers. Well, what is a shinobi? It's one who endures. And then you have, in Boruto, the soul of a shinobi never changes. I think that just, again, those answers connect to one another in the same way the questions connect to one another, when that didn't necessarily have to be the case, which I love so much. Something to add to this.
It weaves very well into the identity theme that Boruto has going on as well. Like, they're very well intertwined to where, like, this is one of the things I think Boruto does really well. Like, those two things. A good job of weaving them together.
Exactly. And something I'll just say on this tweet. Again, I don't think Dorian Munns went to college for screenwriting, so just a small nitpick. I'm not going to say that they are like irrational villains here, unlike Ikimoto or anything, but I will just do a small little revisionist history for this. So, obsession and love aren't themes. That is subject matter. A theme is a question asked to your main character, which the series then spends the rest of the series answering, which is how you get to the question, what is a shinobi? A shinobi is one who endures. What does it mean to be a shinobi in this era of peace? The soul of a shinobi never changes, or whatever it is, blah, blah. And then you spend the rest of the series proving it.
Yeah, I actually, who asked it? Somebody asked a question related to that, I think, and I didn't answer because I thought it'd be a good podcast. We're actually like answering it right now, but
also, I want to say that this is why Naruto's the main character, narratively, rather than like any plot reason or just because obviously there has to be main character, blah blah blah. Especially if you want to say, oh, why isn't Lee the main character? For those that say that, well, it's because It's because literally from episode 1, it's not just asking the character Naruto, but the audience as well. Is Naruto the nine-tailed fox? And we mentioned this as well. Aruka proves to us, not just Naruto, but the audience at the same time, No. Naruto Uzumaki is who he is. He's my goofball, knuckleheaded, hyperactive, number one ninja, knuckleheaded student, not the nine-tailed fox. So it's answering the question, but then the rest of the series is about proving that he's not the nine-tailed fox. It's already answered it. It doesn't have to re-answer it. It doesn't have to re-ask it because we already have the answer. It can re-ask it, but that's just proving it again rather than re-answering it. Why is this important? Because what is Nine-Tailed Fox? It's the monster, not Naruto, which again, you could go with the identity theme, which is how you get to Boruto being important in the first place. Why he's the main character to prove this theme, because he's the character that should be the embodiment of this theme thematically anyways in the first place. Naruto embodies the idea of hatred. He is the Nine-Tailed Fox, which is why it's so important that he's not. And why it's Naruto who confronts the shinobi world on the shinobi world's hatred, and why he's the one who changes it. Because of everyone in the world, he's the one who should have the most hatred thrown at him.
So literally inside him, because Kurama, quote unquote, is hatred.
Yeah, Naruto is hatred, but he's not. Which completely goes against my narrative theory.
It was that
that
conversation with Draco
like
about like genocide and stuff. That's where I remember I mentioned that like that in of itself isn't a theme. It just is subject matter.
Yeah. So again, I completely understand why this person is saying this, and it's completely understand. Like, I don't know another word that I could use other than understandable, but like, I get it. That's just restating understandable, but like, they did nothing wrong. Well, they did do something wrong, but it's not their fault. Well, it is their fault, but they're not to blame. Well, they are to blame. I think you know where I'm going with this.
They don't have malicious intent, seemingly.
Yeah. So there you go. The main theme of Boruto.
Love? Question mark. That's it.
Yeah, the Naruto it's hatred. Yeah.